Hey there, movie lovers! Welcome back to Short Story, your go-to destination for twists, turns, and hidden details of your favorite movies. Let's roll. The movie starts while showing us some Foundation. The Foundation has sent its spaceship to bring the 4 parasites. But they get the news that while returning from space, the spaceship is crashed. And don't know the parasites that were present in that spaceship were left or not. They immediately send the police there. They start investigating that place. When the police arrive there, we see that among those 4 parasites, one hide in someone's body. That parasite makes that person's body its host. It uses that person. They were taking an injured man to a hospital. But there was a woman who was reacting strangely. Because that parasite was none other than in that woman. That woman breaks the ambulance and runs towards that country where that Foundation was. That has sent its spaceship to space. But here this scene cuts. Then we see a boy whose name is Eddie, and he was a good news reporter. He also has a fiancée who works in that Foundation. The Foundation that sent its spaceship. Then we see that Eddie goes to his office in the morning. His boss says to him that you are doing a good job. And today the task which I will give you, you have to do it well. Actually, today you have to take an interview with the CEO of that Foundation. Means from its owner. You have to ask him that why he sent his spaceship to space. Remember, don't talk to him except for this. If you will not talk about his favorite topic, he can also make you kill. Then Eddie says to his boss that okay, don't worry, I will take his interview well. Then at night, we see that Eddie arrives at his home. There was his fiancée's laptop in front of him. He receives mail from someone on the laptop. That mail was from that Foundation. That was sent by a member of that Foundation. That this Foundation is not good and it is taking people's life. It will also use you. Please leave it. There was the detail of their experiments in that mail. Who are these parasites and from where they came? When Eddie comes to know, he thinks that I have a good chance. I have an interview with that man in the morning. So I will ask him all things. Then we see that CEO was a bad man. All were scared of him. He is the villain of this movie. Now it was time for Eddie to take the interview. So he comes to him and then their interview starts. In the start, Eddie asks him that tell me that what have you discovered in space? The owner of that Foundation was happy while answering those questions. But then Eddie starts changing his questions. He says to him that I have heard that you will now choose humans for your experiments, while playing with their lives. Are you going to make your experiment successful like this? And as that owner hears this, Eddie's talks don't seem good to him. He says him to immediately close his interview and leave from here. Eddie was thrown outside. Then Eddie goes to his office to his boss. His boss scolds him. That you have put your leg in this matter even though I have forbidden you. Now get ready for its conclusion. And for the happenings that will happen after this. He terminates him in anger. On the other side, Eddie's fiancée was also terminated from her job. His fiancée was aggressive with Eddie. She says that I am breaking up with you. You are not wise. We both lost our job just because of you. She removes all the links with him and goes far away. Then the scene changes here. We see that at night it was raining and we are shown that woman. There was that parasite in her body. She starts eating the things there. But then some bad people come to her. They were doing experiments while making their different forms. That in which form that parasite stays more powerful. They place a rabbit in a glass box and leaves that yellow parasite there. To see that what will that yellow parasite do with that rabbit. The owner of that Foundation was also there. There was his worker who was seeing that experiment. In the start, they feel that there is a good bonding between the rabbit and that parasite. They have become more powerful after mixing. But after some time that rabbit dies. It dies and this experiment fails. Eddie comes to know from the news that the owner of that Foundation is planning to send his one more spaceship in space. But he knows that if he will do this, many people will be lost their lives like before. He meets a woman on his way. She says him to purchase the newspaper from her. Eddie buys the newspaper from her. With it he goes to a store. A robber comes there and starts robbing that store. But Eddie quietly buys his things and comes back after paying the bill. On the other side we see the lab of that Foundation company. There was that owner with that worker with glasses. Now they were doing that experiment on a human with that parasite except animal. But that parasite also couldn't meet with a human body. Kills that human. Seeing it, the girl with the glasses feels bad. She immediately goes from there to Eddie and tells him that this is happening in our foundation. She asks for help from him. But Eddie says that now I have left this profession. Now I will not fight with anyone. That worker says that try to understand. That owner is a bad man. He will take everyone's life. He actually doesn't want to be alive in this world. Because he knows that this world will be finished soon. He is doing experiments on space so that he can live there. That's why he brought 4 parasites from there. Those parasites were none other than the creatures of space. They were powerful. But when these 4 parasites were brought here, one of them ran away from here. Now the owner is doing experiments on the other left 3 parasites. He is killing innocent people. She says to Eddie, please do something because you know how to approach the news reporters. Eddie says, okay, I understand all thing. Don't worry, I will do something soon. Eddie secretly goes inside that lab there. He sees that they are doing experiments on humans. He starts taking their pictures for evidence. He comes to know that the woman from which he buys the newspaper was also there. Eddie feels bad. To save that woman's life, he starts breaking that glass. That girl comes out from there. But she was connected with that parasite. That parasite leaves that girl's body and comes into Eddie's body. Now that parasite was affecting Eddie's body. All guards were behind Eddie. Eddie starts running from there. But he was running so fast that a normal human can't run like this. It means that the parasite has affected him. He runs towards a forest. He climbs up a tree while jumping high. He saves his life from guards. When they leave from there, Eddie comes to his house. After returning home, he drinks water. He drinks a lot of water. He starts eating the things that were in his house. His hunger was not removing. Then he starts vomiting. Then he was not feeling good and there changes occur in his body. Here his face also changes. Seeing his face, he was getting worried. When he couldn't understand anything, he calls his fiancée while getting worried. His fiancée says that I have removed all my links with you. I am now with someone else. Even though Eddie insists on her meeting. Then he goes to the restaurant to meet her. He starts eating all the things in the restaurant. But he says that I am not getting energy after eating it. This is the dead meat, give me a live thing to eat. Then he sees the aquarium. He starts eating crabs from it while sitting there. In fact, there was venom in Eddie's body. Means the most strong parasite among those 4 parasites. That's why it had made the human body its host. But Eddie's fiancée and her friend couldn't understand it. So they take him to the hospital for his scan. After it, Eddie was sent to his home. When the reports come, we will tell you. Now we see the scene of the foundation. The owner of that foundation comes to know the worker with the glasses has to call Eddie there. She gave him the approach of this place. That owner becomes aggressive with that girl. He also throws a parasite on her. Then we see Eddie at his house. Now he was aggressive. His neighbor was listening to loud music. He forbids him, but he ignores Eddie. So the parasite in Eddie's body means Venom comes into anger. He forbids him. Meanwhile, some guards come there. Those were sent by the owner of that foundation. Here we see that Venom was appearing in his body clearly, and starts fighting those guards. It was protecting Eddie. Now Eddie was more powerful. Even then those guards don't leave him. Eddie moves from there on his bike. His fast speed and all things that the owner was also watching. He starts saying to his people, see, the parasite which I discover is now prosperous. The owner of the foundation sends more guards behind him. And when Eddie jumps on his bike while escaping from them, he falls. His bones were broken. But now Venom's body comes out of his body. That makes a covering of black color. Then saves Eddie's body. After it, Eddie means that Venom starts eating those guards. He comes to a place while passing from the water. Then Eddie asks that Venom that why you come into my body. And surprisingly they can talk to each other. Then Venom tells him that my house is space and I am brought here from space. Then I find your body and I think that you are a good host. I request you to send me to my home means to space. Eddie has all the shreds of evidence that he clicked the pictures in that foundation. They were oppressing the humans. He goes to his company to tell this. But his companion didn't let him in. Then Venom says to Eddie that I am here. I will take you up. Then they go upside. While breaking the window, he comes into the office of his boss. He places a note there with the evidence. But then the guards of that owner arrive there and attack him. They start shooting him. But Venom again comes out of Eddie's body and protects him. That Venom after defeating all guards and was about to eat one of them. But then his fiancée arrives there. She had done a breakup with him. Eddie returns to the getup of humans again. He says to her that what are you doing here? That girl says to him that you know that you are under medication, then what are you doing here? Before anything happens, immediately to come with me. They come to the hospital. The friend of his ex-fiancée again scans him. Finally they become successful here. To take out that Venom from Eddie's body. Eddie was feeling light and was happy. He says to that Venom that I also didn't want you to come into my body. But with it, the people of that foundation owner again kidnaps him. Then he was represented in front of that owner. We come to know that there was that parasite in the body of that foundation owner. That was transferred by a girl in his body. He was saying to Eddie that give me that parasite which is in your body. Eddie says that it has gone a few times ago after leaving my body. That is not with me, it is somewhere else, go and find it. That owner says that doesn't make me aggressive, I can also change into a parasite. With it, he changes into a monster-type parasite. That was another main parasite in this movie. Then Eddie says that please don't scare me with this. You are proud of it, you will also get tired of it within some time. It will control you. Then the owner says that it doesn't matter. When Eddie doesn't answer him, then he says to his guards to throw him outside while pushing him and kill him. But then we see that Venom again arrives there into the body of Eddie's fiancée. Venom saves Eddie's life from those guards. Then he again comes into Eddie's body. Here Eddie and his fiancée become friends again. That Venom says to Eddie that the owner had done all experiments. Now he wanted to come into space. Because his plan is to bring more parasites from space. But remember one thing, that if all the parasites will come here, they will destroy you. They will eat the people. Now that owner starts talking to launch another spaceship in his foundation. All workers start making him understand that it will be dangerous to go there at this time. Because all the parasites are against you. And people are also not supporting you. Hearing it, he kills all the workers there. He launches that spaceship himself. Meanwhile, Venom also arrives there. They fight a lot. Because Venom doesn't want that owner will occupy its world and bring its companion parasites here. Here we see that owner becomes strong. He kills Eddie and goes inside the spaceship. But how can Venom die? It again comes into Eddie's body and jumps towards that spaceship. The thing from which that owner attacked Eddie. Venom damages that spaceship with that weapon. Due to it, its fuel falls down. Then that spaceship blasts. Here we see that owner was dead. Venom had also sacrificed its life to save Eddie. Now Eddie falls into the water. The next day, we see that Eddie and his ex-fiancée were talking while sitting. But then his fiancée listens to Venom's voice from Eddie's body. She says that Eddie Venom is still alive. Eddie says no, that was someone else's voice. Here we come to know that Venom was still alive. After it, Eddie stands up from there and then secretly talks to Venom. He says that see, you are living in my world, but don't let anybody know that you are living here. There are some rules that you have to follow. Like you will not eat humans. You will eat the bad humans, but not every day. Then they go into a store from there and they see that a man come to rob that store. Seeing it, Venom gets activated. And he eats that robber. As Eddie said that you can only eat the bad people. After it, we see that everything becomes normal. Eddie was again on his old job. Means he has become the news reporter. And now he was taking the interview of a famous serial killer. With it, this movie ends here. And that's the story behind Venom. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown as much as we enjoyed sharing it. If you loved this video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to join our growing community. Got a favorite movie or a hidden gem you'd like us to explain? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. Thanks for watching Short Story.